Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are stripping things all the way back.
Yeah.
I mean, we usually tackle these massive, complex systems, economics, tech, psychology.
Right.
But today, we're looking at a system that is uh, arguably more complex and definitely more frustrating for anyone trying to master English.
Oh, it's the ultimate gatekeeper of the language
You're talking about the big three?
and not the auto manufacturers.
No, definitely not. I'm talking about at, in, and on. Three tiny words, but, the source material we're looking at today argues they're basically the coordinates of the language.
That is a great way to put it. I mean, think of a sentence as a map. Nouns and verbs are the landmarks. They tell you what is happening. But prepositions,
They're the GPS.
they are the GPS. They tell you where and when it's all happening.
And that's the problem, isn't it? You can have a PhD level vocabulary, perfect pronunciation, but if you look someone in the eye and say, I'm in the bus, you immediately sound, well, a little bit off.
It just breaks the immersion.
Yeah.
It signals to the listener that you're not a native speaker. And the tricky part is that logic, your own logic, often fails you.
Right?
In your native language, you might be on the bus or with the bus. English has this very specific, sometimes bizarre geometric logic for these words.
So here's our mission for this deep dive. We are not going to read a textbook. We're not just going to list rules in a vacuum. We are going to run a simulation.
I like this.
The source material suggests a golden rule framework, and we're going to stress test it against a real-world scenario that is stressful enough on its own. The airport trip.
Oh, I love this approach. High stakes, high pressure.
Exactly. We're going to navigate from a house in the city all the way to the departure gate, and at every single step, we have to make a choice. In, on, or at.
And by the time the plane takes off, the listener should have this intuitive feel for why we chose those words.
That's the plan. Ready?
Ready when you are?
All right. Let's look at the cheat sheet first. Before we even leave the house, the source material gives us this high-level framework, a golden rule. How do we boil this down?
Okay, if you only remember three things from this entire dive, make it these. It's all about dimensions. First, in. Think bigger, enclosed, general. Think 3D, like a container.
3D volume.
Got it.
Second is on. For that, think surfaces and lines. So 2D, flat.
2D, like a map. Makes sense.
And finally, at. Think exact point. It's basically 0D. It's a dot on that map.
3D, 2D, 0D. I like that. It moves it away from grammar and into, geometry.
Exactly.
So let's start the simulation. Phase 1, place. Imagine we just woke up. We're frantic. We're on the phone. A friend asks, where are you? We need to describe our location.
Right. So if we start zoomed all the way up, like satellite view, we are looking at borders.
Okay.
The source material is really clear on this. For cities, countries, any big defined area, we're inside the boundaries. So we're in the city. The text uses the example in London. Right, because London is a container. It has boundaries. We're contained within it.
Precisely. You wouldn't say you're on London unless you were a giant stomping on the buildings.
Right.
You're immersed in it. And this containment logic holds up as we zoom in. We zoom into the building. You're in the house. Zoom into the room. You're in the kitchen.
Because the kitchen has walls, it's a box. The source actually lists in a box as the core example for this rule.
Exactly. If you can be physically enclosed by it, it's usually in.
Okay, but we can't just float there. We have to be touching something. So let's zoom the camera in a bit tighter. We're standing. Where?
And now we switch dimensions.
Yeah.
We go from the 3D container to the 2D surface. We are standing on the floor.
See, this is a distinction that trips people up all the time. You are in the room, but on the floor.
Yes, because the floor is a surface. If you put your coffee cup down, you put it on the table. If you're looking at a poster, it's on the wall.
Right.
And the source makes a big deal about this with verticality, too. Let's say our apartment is high up.
We're in a high rise.
You are on the 5th floor.
Why not in the 5th floor? I mean, it's a space, isn't it?
It is, but conceptually, English treats floors like flat layers in a stack.
Oh, like a layer of a cake.
Exactly, like a layer of a cake.
Yeah.
You are standing on that layer. So you're in the building, but on the level.
Okay, so we've got the container in London and the surface on the floor that the Uber driver is calling. He doesn't care about our floor. He needs a pin drop.
This is where at enters the chat.
Right.
At is the laser pointer. It cuts through the volume and the surface and just gives you a specific point. The source lists examples like at the door or at the station.
That's crucial. When I say I'm at the station, I'm not really talking about the building itself, am I?
No, and that's the nuance. You could be outside the station or just inside. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You're treating the station as a destination point, a dot on the driver's map.
The source has this really great address chain that ties it all together. It's I live in London on Freedom Square at number 12. Let's peel that apart.
Sure. In London, that's the macro container.
Easy enough.
On Freedom Square. Now, this is interesting. Why on?
I was just going to ask that a square is an area. Why isn't it in the square?
Well, it can be sometimes.
Yep.
But generally, streets and squares are treated as surfaces or lines on a map. You live on the street. Think of the street as a line drawn on the city. Your house sits on that line.
And then at number 12,
The specific address, the pin drop.
there's another example in the source for at that I think is really helpful. It mentions being at the party.
Yes, I love that distinction. If you say, I am in the room, you're describing physics.
Ah.
Your body is inside four walls.
Right.
If you say, I am at the party, you are describing your purpose. You're at an event. You're located relative to a happening, not just a building.
So if we're leaving the house, standing right by the entrance.
We're at the door.
Okay, let's synthesize phase 1. The source gives us this summary Trinity sentence. She is in the office on the 5th floor at her desk.
It's the perfect mental stack. In the office volume, enclosure. On the 5th floor surface, layer. At her desk, specific point.
Okay, we are located, we are out the door. Now we get to phase 2 of the simulation. The logic of transport. We need to get to the airport, and this is where the logic gets weird.
It does.
We call a taxi. Do we get on the taxi or in the taxi?
You get in the taxi.
Okay. But then we get to the airport, we go through security, and we get in the plane.
No, you get on the plane.
See, this is what drives learners crazy. They're both vehicles. Both are metal boxes. Why the switch?
Okay, so the source material calls these special cases. But if you look closely, there's actually what you can call a walkability rule.
The walkability rule.
Yeah, think about the physical action. When you get into a taxi or a car, what do? You sort of crouch down, you fold yourself into a small container.
Right.
You're physically enclosing yourself. The source groups in a taxi and in a car together.
Okay, so small, private, crouch to enter. That's in. But what about a plane or a train or a bus?
What do? You step up, you walk down an aisle, you can stand up and move around.
So because it has a deck that I can walk on, it's treated as a surface.
Definitely, it's a moving platform. So you get on a bus, on a train, on a plane, you're boarding a surface.
That makes so much sense. But I see one exception in the source that challenges this. The bicycle. On a bike. I definitely can't walk around on a bike. It's tiny. Why isn't it in the bike?
Well, try getting in a bike.
Fair point.
You sit on top of it. It's pure surface logic. A horse, a motorbike, a bicycle. You straddle them.
Yeah.
You're on them.
So the rule of thumb for our airport trip, we get in the Uber, small container, we arrive at the terminal, we get on the shuttle bus,
Large platform.
and eventually we get on the plane.
Navigation successful.
All right, we have physically arrived. Phase 3, the terminal. We're standing there. The source talks about at the airport versus in the airport. Can we clear that up?
This is a great example of intent. If you call someone to say you've arrived, you say, I am at the airport.
Because it's a destination, a dot on the map.
Exactly. But let's say it's raining or you're looking for the check-in desk. You might say, I am in the terminal. Now you're emphasizing that you're inside the building.
Okay, let's get precise. I need to meet my friend. They text me, I'm here. That's not helpful.
Right. This brings us back to the at rule for points. Your friend is standing at the check-in desk or at gate 42.
But what if they're doing some shopping?
And then they are in the duty-free shop. Because a shop is a room, an enclosed space.
So I go to the point at the gate, but I look inside the container in the shop.
And don't forget, if you're looking at the departure screen to find their flight.
The screen is on the wall.
Surface logic again. You've got it.
Okay, we've got our friend, we've got our bags. Now we look at the departure board.
Yeah.
And we are moving from space to time. This is phase 4. The schedule, does the logic, does it shift?
Surprisingly, no. The source material highlights that English uses the exact same coordinates at, in, on for time. It's almost like the language treats time as a physical landscape.
Let's test that. We're looking at our flight time. It's precise.
Right. So for space, at was our laser pointer at the door. For time, at is also the laser pointer. It cuts the timeline at an exact second. The source examples are at 7:30, at noon, at midnight.
It's not a duration, it's a slice.
It's a slice exactly.
Okay, zooming out a bit, we're not just flying at 7:30. We are flying on a specific day.
And here we go back to the 2D surface concept. Days and dates always take on.
Yeah.
On Monday, on 15 February, on Christmas Day.
Why on? Is there a logic there?
Think of a calendar. It's a grid of squares. Each day is a square. You place your appointment on that square. It's a surface in time.
I like that. So at the time point on the day surface, what if we zoom way out? I'm traveling, summer.
Now we are back to the container.
Yeah.
8 chunks of time, months, years, seasons. They're like volumes. We are inside them. In March, in 2025, in the 21st century.
So in is for anything long enough that it feels like you're sort of swimming in it.
That's a good way to put it. And this applies to parts of the day too, the waiting period. We wait in the morning, we wait in the afternoon, we wait in the evening.
These are containers of daylight.
Exactly.
I want to visualize this with the funnel technique. Imagine a funnel, wide at the top, narrow at the bottom.
Okay, got it.
At the very top, the widest part, we have years, months, seasons, big containers. In 2025,
Thick.
in the middle, it narrows. We have on
Sure.
days and dates, on Monday.
Sure.
And at the very bottom, the tiny tip, we have at specific clock time at 6:00 p.m.
That visual is perfect.
Yeah.
The source actually gives us a sentence that combines all of them. It's so useful to break down.
Yeah.
We met on 15 February at 6 p.m. in the evening.
Okay, let's dissect that.
On 15 February, specific date, surface,
That's 6 p.m.
exact clock time, point,
and in the evening.
general part of the day, the container.
It just flows perfectly when you know the rule. It's like a formula.
There's another comparison sentence in the source that highlights how we switch between routine and specific time.
Which one's that?
I usually study in the morning on weekdays. At night, I relax.
Oh, that brings up a really important point. We just said in the morning and in the evening, but that sentence said at night.
Sharp here. This brings us to phase 5. The red flags. The exceptions. Because English never lets us have a simple rule without breaking it.
So night is the rebel.
It is. The source is very emphatic about this. You say in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, but it is always at night.
Never in the night.
The source explicitly says not in the night. It's an anomaly. You just have to memorize it.
Is there a reason?
It's linguistically complicated, but you can think of it this way. Morning and afternoon are active periods containers of activity. Night was traditionally seen more as a point of darkness, a state of being, so it kept the adjectives memorize it as the dark exception.
Okay, red flag number 1. At night. What's the next trap?
The weekend. And this is actually a regional debate.
Oh, the classic British versus American showdown.
Right. The source notes that in British English, you usually say at the weekend. They treat the weekend as a point in time, like a destination. What are you doing at the weekend?
But my American ears reject that. To me, Saturday and Sunday are days. Days are surfaces. So I do something on the weekend.
And in American English, you're correct. Both are accepted globally now. But if you want to sound specifically British or American, that's your little toggle switch.
Any other place anomalies? Are there places that behave strangely?
There are the zero article zones. Usually we say we are at the bank at the airport. We need the. But the source lists 3 magical places that refuse to take the word the.
What are they?
Homework and university. You're simply at home, at work, at university.
You never say, I am at the home.
Never. It sounds very strange.
And finally, let's talk about holidays. This is tricky. The airport is crowded because it's Christmas.
So here's the distinction. If you use the word day, it takes on. So on Christmas Day, on New Year's Day,
Because it follows the day rule.
this is
Surface.
correct. But if you're talking about the holiday period, the season, the source is you use at. So at Christmas or Christmas time.
So we open presents on Christmas Day, but we eat a lot of food at Christmas.
That's it. On for the specific calendar square. At for the general festive period.
Wow. Okay. When you break it down like that, it feels much less chaotic. It's not just random guessing. There's a system.
There is absolutely a system. It's just that the system has a few. Let's call them custom features.
Right. Like the at night rule. So let's bring this bird down for a landing. We've survived the commute, the terminal, and the schedule. Let's do a final recap.
All right, let's do it by dimension. For volume 3D, use in London, in the taxi, in 2025, in the morning.
Got it. For surfaces and platforms, 2D, use on the floor, on the plane, on Monday, on Christmas Day.
And for points, 0D, use at the door, at the airport, at 7:30, and the big exception, at night.
It's a lot to take in, but the source material ends with a really encouraging note. It says, the more you read and listen, the more natural these feel.
That is the absolute truth. You can't just memorize the list once. You have to hear it, use it.
So here's our challenge to you. The next time you're out in the world, maybe you're waiting in line for coffee or sitting at your desk at work, try to just label your coordinates.
Ask yourself, am I in something? Am I on something? Or am I just located at a point?
Turn your daily commute into a little grammar simulation. You might be surprised how quickly those big threes stop being confusing and just become automatic.
And remember, even if you are in a rush, take a moment to get your prepositions right. It really does make all the difference.
Thanks for diving in with us today. We'll catch you on the next one.
See you then.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. See you next time.